Hey guys, so if you're in economics HL and you're strapped for time, which you most likely are because economics is a very big subject and which requires a lot of understanding, what I'm about to show you is going to give you an option in what you can study. Okay, so I don't know if what I'm about to show you is an open secret among IB students because nobody told me about it until, very late in the exam. But basically, it's an analysis of past paper questions to show you a pattern in the way they ask the paper 1 question, specifically section A. But basically, we all know that microeconomics is a killer, particularly for people in HL because of theory of the firm, because it takes such a long time to understand. And if you're strapped, you're not really able to do that, right? Because you have a ton of other subjects to do. So what do? So notice this pattern in the papers, and I want you to understand that this only affects papers after 2013 because that was the last syllabus change. So I'll show it to you now. Okay, so this is the 2016 May paper. Look at number 1. Market failure can occur when there's asymmetric information, abuse of monopoly power, and positive externalities. Explain why any two of these represent market failure. Therefore, if you chose asymmetric information and positive externalities, you would not need to include monopoly power. Therefore, this question number 1 does not include anything about theory of the firm, but question number 2 is solely theory of the firm. Notice May 2015, not theory of the firm, theory of the firm. May 2014, not theory of the firm, theory of the firm. May 2013, theory of the firm, not theory of the firm. November 2014, not theory of the firm, theory of the firm. What does this show? Well, basically, one question is solely dedicated to theory of the firm and the other isn't. Therefore, technically, okay, if you didn't study theory of the firm, you could get by just answering the other question, or vice versa. If you're really good at theory of the firm and you don't want to deal with all these other things, right, all you'd have to do is study theory of the firm and not the rest of microeconomics. So basically, the questions are structured in a way where if you don't study theory of the firm, that's okay. And if you only study theory of the firm, that's okay as well, because the questions don't intertwine. So the main thing that all of you need to understand is that this is not official by the IB, okay? It just, the pattern just says that you have to answer a question from microeconomics. It doesn't say that one will be theory of the firm and one won't. So if you decide to not study theory of the firm in the hopes of this pattern, you're doing it at your own risk. If the IB decides to change the pattern this year, they make section A of each question about non-theory of the firm and section B about theory of the firm, then you're basically screwed if you don't study theory of the firm. Basically, this is not official by the IB. It's just something that people have noticed, including some teachers who teach IB economics. So basically, if you are in a bad position right now in the sense that you haven't really concentrated in theory of the firm, and it takes a long time to get your head around it, there's a very high chance that this pattern will continue for this year's exam. So if you only study the non-theory of the firm portion on micro, you still could get by, and vice versa, whatever suited for you. What I would recommend though, if you don't understand theory of the firm, is, like I've said in another video, go to a website, go to a guy called Jason Welker, okay, and he has a website called the Econ Classroom, if I'm not mistaken, and he has one whole playlist of videos solely dedicated to theory of the firm, and that would help you a lot instead of relying on this pattern. But again, if you don't have time and you're in a really bad position about studying with all your other subjects, this pattern gives you an option on what you can study. You don't have to study theory of the firm if you don't want to. So use this at your own risk and hope you nail the IB exams.